Good afternoon. It is Wednesday, March 3rd. Worked all day. Get off and pulling things together. Apparently the subject for On the Anvil, Dwarven Forge live stream show tonight is discussing the castle system. What they like, what they don't, etc. The castles is one of the ones that, I mean, it's a big investment to get into. I'd love to give some of my opinions on it. So I'm looking forward to that, and that starts in about a half hour. But I'm feeling a little lazy. I want to just go pick up some Jack in the Box for dinner. So I have like a half hour. I'm going to try and go grab food and hopefully get back in time. I'm in line. I got 6 minutes to get home. It's gonna take longer than 6 minutes to get through this line. But I stopped by Mom's and picked up the rest of the mail that I was expecting yesterday. Well, the rest of it arrived, so I went and grabbed that. Probably added an extra 5 or whatever minutes, and probably the amount by which I'll be late. And streaming it probably isn't the best use of my cellular data, but it's starting here in like a minute, and I still gotta drive home. So I just got it. I mean, the beginning of it's all audio anyways, right? So it's playing down at my waist.
Welcome to Dwarven Forge Live. This is
I love technology. So I got food. I'm back. They're still on news. I made it in plenty of time. And I got a nice dinner. And that was fun. They're talking about their castle builder system. And really just, I mean, their castle builder system was their 4th Kickstarter. Their 5th Kickstarter was Dungeon of Doom, which, in my opinion, and from what they're talking about, they agree, is really where they changed focus for how they're presenting their product. Because the castle builder system was really built as, here's a bunch of pieces and you gotta figure out how to use them. Starting with Dungeon of Doom, it was like, here are a bunch of ways to use our stuff. Made it much more approachable. So, very different look. Very much more easy for people to look at and want to get into. Castles didn't have that. And so they were just talking about some of the nightmares and looking back on, like, why did we do this? But they made some cool stuff. Nate talked about, you know, like his goal was to just come in and make the world's greatest modular castle miniature system, and he did. He had no concept for how to market or sell it. That was not anything he was thinking about. He didn't think about that till like the week before things were launching. It's like, how are we gonna put this together? Because they were just building cool looking stuff. Yeah, it's like there's a little more to it, and they've definitely learned a lot since then. But looking at them and what some of the pieces do, it makes me think I want to get the castles again. When I got into Dwarven Forge, the thing I said was I'm gonna start getting into this, but I'm not getting into castles. And so I've gotten into Dwarven Forge. And there have been points back and forth where I've thought I'd like to get into castles, because I like some of the stuff that can be done with it. Now there's a couple problems with it. The first is, whereas in any of the other lines, if you spend like $1,000, you're getting a very awesome set, complete, you know, like there's definitely things that you can expand it with, but it's solid. You got enough that you can do a variety of things with it. $1,000 is basically the entry level point for the castles. And that gives you a very boring, mundane set with very few options to change up how things go. It's just very standard. Functional, but not exciting. You're adding another $800 before you start getting, you know, to feel like a solid, you know, point that you would on the other set. So almost doubling what you'd have to spend. So that's not great. Also, when you do some of the even bigger things, you go above that $800 or that $1,800. You go to the $3,500 to make the coolest things. They become, at least from what I can surmise looking at it, difficult to play with because it's very complex layers, so many different layers that you're having to basically disassemble. I mean, it could be interesting, but complex. I'd like to get into it. I'm no longer of the same opinion when I started getting into Dwarven Forge of never for me. But it'll be a bit. Otherwise, I do enjoy sitting and listen. Sounds like they might do more Cities 2 discussion next week. Looking forward to that. But yeah, simple evening. I did get the remaining things that I needed. I think I said that. In order to use the cam link, I got a cable. This cable is an HDMI cable on one side and the little mini or micro or whatever HDMI this camera uses, because the goal with that cam link is to be able to use this camera instead of my webcam, because the picture on this camera is much nicer. I think, we'll see, I think nice enough that once I'm using this, I will be able to not use the even nicer one with the dedicated lens. As great as it is, it's old and it doesn't have a way to try and improve my workflow. If I can use this and pipe it directly into the computer, then I might be able to help with my workflow. And then I also got this little box. There's a bunch of little pieces, but basically it is a little thing that's shaped like the battery that plugs up into this camera and runs out to a plug. It's what I use on the nice camera. I have one for it that allows me to plug it in, so I don't use a battery. I don't have to worry about the battery dying in the middle of it. It will power the camera while using it as a high quality webcam. And I need to find a time at some point to test all of that. Now, there's no rush to test it, but I need to test it for 2 to 2.5 hours before I try and record with it. So, sooner I do it, the sooner I can upgrade the quality of my videos. That's about it. They went long by like 40 minutes, so by the time they ended, I'm starting to think about, okay, let's wrap it up. Call it an evening. So thank you for joining me, and join me as my journey continues. Bye.